We are by live WinDailySports.com. My name is Jon Jansen, joined by my guy, DFS_Ghost. His name is Nick, but we don't call him that around here. Sixers are going to win the NBA. No, I can't say that. But, wow, do the Sixers look like they're in a good spot to win the East, eh?
Man, we said, bro, I forgot to write it down. We said it. You had asked me, is it automatic that Brooklyn makes it out of the East? We're not going to talk about who I had them losing to because we're not going to go there. But we said it.
You had them losing
we
to
said,
the Heat.
But I said something
Heat.
Like the moment one of them goes down, we talked about James Harden's hamstring, talked about Kyrie, we talked about KD. Yep. We said if one of them goes down, the rest of this team is cheeks, man. Now they're in a spot where both Kyrie and James Harden go down. I don't know. It's like I'm not writing them off completely either because I see people now are like, oh, Milwaukee's going to win 2 straight. But like, okay, I'm not going to take it that far. But
no, because that's speculative. You got to speculate how long Harden and both Irving going to be out. And I just can't.
Yeah, like we know they're ruled out for Game 5. That's fine. But at the same time, it's like, bro, Middleton and Giannis combined for like 70 out of 86 points that they scored. Like they can't be doing that every night. Like all it takes is one bad shooting game from Middleton or Giannis is struggling with it. Bro, this guy loves doing stuff like this, man. My God. I don't get it.
First LeBron James, now KD.
My God. Anyway.
I respect the hustle, dude. I respect it.
Like all it takes is like one, I don't even want to say rough game for Middleton. It's like one normal game for Chris Middleton, and all of a sudden the Nets are winning one. You know what I mean? So it's like I'm not writing them off completely just yet. I think there's actually good value on Brooklyn to win the series. They went from minus 390 or minus 400, minus 450 on some books heading into Game 4, and now they're plus money. You know, like it's still a 2-2 series, and it's a best out of 3 with 2 of them in Brooklyn. You know, so I'm not writing them off completely, but yeah, Philadelphia looks like they're in a great spot right now. Absolutely.
They do, and they are in action tonight, which, I mean, the entire playoffs has been so overreactionary. Like, anything that happens, we have to have an immediate reaction and look so far ahead. Because after Game 1, it was, or even after Game 2, I was hearing this. Not sure if the Sixers, it's going to be tough to beat the Hawks. Like, the Hawks have something. I was like, wait, hold on a second. The Hawks are the team that we're going to go like, man, they can beat the Sixers. I mean, it was easy. After the first half of Game 1, the Sixers have dominated every single part of this series now.
Yeah, and it's just we talked about it where we said we need Ben Simmons one-on-one on Trae Young, and it took one half of basketball where
Ghost, you should be an NBA coach because you always tell me you got to put your best defender on a best shooter. Or at least you say, hey, maybe you should put Kawhi on Luka. Or, hey, maybe you should bet on Trae Young. Why does it take NBA coaches, really smart dudes, to put their best defender on a team's best scorer? I don't get it. And especially when they match up so well against them. Like Kawhi Leonard or Luka, that's a perfect matchup. Why are you not doing it?
I don't know if they had like a meeting like pre-playoffs saying like, okay, none of us are gonna play our defensive matchups properly. We'll just do it around the league.
Let's let our scores eat. Yeah, let's do it.
It's just we said it and it was on your show too. I said heading into the series, you need Ben playing Trae Young one-on-one. Then we see Danny Green getting absolutely cooked for 24 minutes in Game 1. The whole first half, the man was fried, absolutely cooked. They put Ben on there.
Yeah.
Trae had, I don't know the exact stat, but I'm pretty sure he had like 7 points in the second half compared to 21 in the first half, or 23, 20, whatever he ended up dropping. It was 20 something in the first, and he had like under 10 in the second.
25 in the first, I think he had.
Yeah, and it was like 6 or 7 points in the second half because Ben's on. And then all of a sudden they do Game 2. Ben Simmons on for 48 minutes. Okay, now we're rolling. And it's the same thing. So like, I don't know what it's going to take for teams to realize that they should be doing that. Like, they're just giving away free games. You know what I mean? So now that they're in a good spot, Ben's got the matchup again tonight. No Danny Green in the lineup on top of that. So even if they wanted to switch, you can't. Which I don't even know why they would think about that. But that's just the way people have been coaching these playoffs, and it's been driving me nuts. But Ben Simmons on trade tonight, Game 4 in the A. It's going to be this is a must win for Atlanta. It is what it is. It's as close to a must win as it gets for the Hawks right now.
Yeah, and when we get to the betting side here of both games, you'll definitely hear that I think both of these series are pretty much over. The other one is not exactly what you would say over, but to me, it sort of feels like it. And yes, Glide, it feels pretty damn good knowing the Philly is actually in a good spot. Thank you, Glide. I know. He had to put in there, like the Nets are hurt. And who knows? The Sixers are a good team, man. Why couldn't they beat the Nets?
I'm so tired of hearing that. And it's not even like Glad wasn't even saying that. It's just I'm just going parallel here. I'm just going parallel. Like seeing people saying, "Oh, well, what if this guy didn't get hurt? What if that's sports, bro? That is professional sports. It could happen to your team just like it could happen to the other team. So I'm sorry. Like if this was Steph, if this was Clay, if this was Draymond and KD with a super team in the finals." Nobody talked about the injuries then. It was all, oh my gosh, Toronto beat the Warriors. Kawhi's the best. Nobody talked about Klay Thompson tearing his ACL mid-game. Nobody talked about KD going down. Nobody talked about how banged up Steph was. So, you can't play that angle and not play it for everybody. So, for me, I make it very simple for myself. I don't play that angle at all. A talent in professional sports is being able to be on the court, being able to be on the field, being able to be on the pitch. That's just what it is. And it could happen to your team just like it could happen to another. So we saw what happened with Joel Embiid's injury. Realistically, if he went down and was gone out for the rest of the playoffs, they'd all be talking the offseason, oh, we need to blow up this team now. Nobody would be saying oh, well, Embiid wasn't injured, this, that. But now when it comes to the Nets, it's, oh, well, Harden's out and Kyrie's out. They're going to win the ship next year. It's fine. No, it showed how weak your team was without 3 stars.
Yeah, maybe.
That's what it is.
No, yeah.
Maybe not have Bruce
just
Brown.
A good team. Yeah.
Maybe not have Bruce Brown taking floaters with 7 seconds left in the game, and you'd be in a different spot. You know what I mean?
That's a good idea. I like that idea. Bruce Brown taking shots at the end of a game. Yeah, I like that. Especially when you have Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Kyrie Irving on the floor. I'm okay with that.
Bruce Brown taking a floater from probably within 5 feet. Oh my gosh! Wow, that was something. And I had the Nets on the money line that day too, so I'm still having nightmares about that one. But
let's not have nightmares about this slate. Is this a nightmare slate? It can't be that bad. 2 games.
No, I like both these series. I like it.
I do too, and I have very clear teams that I think are going to win, but we'll figure that out. Philly, Atlanta, we'll start with because this is the first one, 7:30, 10 o'clock Utah, and the Clippers. Where are we going here with this one? Joel Embiid's been an absolute scoring machine, but is he worth the price to pay here in this one?
So I'm 100% playing Embiid tonight. Been saying that for the entire playoffs. I've been playing Joel Embiid every single slate. It's just if you see Philadelphia winning, it's because Embiid's dropping 35. That's just the nature of the Sixers right now, right? Ben's playing great defense. He's rebounding well. He's dishing the rock, but Embiid is the one that's the benefactor of that. You saw the pass where Ben Simmons is palming the ball with his back to the basket and just throws it up there like he's throwing a football for an alley-oop to Joel Embiid. That was just absolutely insane. So I'm 100% playing Joel Embiid tonight. I mean, you can play Rudy Gobert at center, I guess, but it's just the upside is so massive for Joel Embiid in this spot every single game. So I am playing him, and then there's actually surprisingly there is a lot of value on the Philadelphia side now. A lot of value. There's 3 players, which on a 2-game slate that is a lot of value. So, talking about this one might make you nauseous, but talking about a guy like Shake Milton coming off the bench with no Danny Green in the lineup, it took him a while, but he's here and he's making an impact. I don't care how long it took him to get his situation together, but he's here, and at 3,200, he's been balling out. He's going to be the first guy off the bench. Him and Cork. Basically, 2 out of the 3 between Thibault, Cork, and Milton, those are going to be the first 2 guys off the bench, right? So I do have a ton of interest there. No Danny Green in the lineup. Whoever gets hot between these guys is going to see a ton of minutes, right? So Thibault's going to probably start. I would assume Thibault starts just for his defensive ability. But again, he's more of a FanDuel play for me just because of the 3 points per steal, and he could go out there and get 5 steals realistically. So Thibault's a good play on FanDuel, and even on DraftKings at 3.1, he's certainly in my player pool right now. And then Shake Milton at 3,200 and Cork at 3,500. Cork is a guy that he could absolutely burn you. It's similar style to all these pure shooters. We talk about Duncan Robinson, talk about a bunch of these other guys, right? So like we saw Joe Harris have that one random blow up game in I think it was the series against, what was it, in the first round against Boston, where Joe Harris just went nuts one game. That's what it is with these pure shooters, right? So beware the risk when playing a guy like Cork, because if his shot is not dropping, it's Shake and Thibault in the lineup instead of Cork. But at the same time, I'm okay playing 2 out of 3 of these guys. I'm not opposed to it just because of how cheap that they are and what it allows you to do with the rest of your build.
Yeah, and those two coming off the bench are obviously going to be the big ones because those are the pure scorers coming off the bench for the Sixers. What else kind of changes there? Because I mean, obviously knowing the Sixers very well, it's very much the rotation hasn't shortened up yet because let's just try everybody, at least all the guys we find viable, and whoever can end up having the great game, great night, we'll give them more minutes. There's been a Maxey night. There's been a Hill night. There's been a Korkmaz night. There's been a Milton night. But now that there are more minutes, I guess, are we just expecting? I'm with you. I'm expecting Milton and Korkmaz. Is there any chance we look further than that with the Sixers? I mean, is there any chance we look at a George Hill? We look at Tyrese Maxey at 3,400. Any chance on some of those guys as well? Just trying to figure out basically what the rotation is going to be like off the Sixers bench.
So Tyrese is a guy that's really intriguing. Just right now, I don't see a path to his minutes.
Yeah.
I do think that the way that Shake is playing, he's going to get the first nod. And, if Shake's not performing, they have Cork. And then they will turn to George Hill before they turn to Tyrese Maxey. So for me, he's going to be the odd man out. George Hill is somebody that, he's going to get his 10 plus minutes, 10 to 15 range like he does every other game. But it's just, is the production going to be there for him? Right now, I'm going with the offensive upside with Milton and Cork. But yeah, George Hill is certainly in the same ballpark as all 3 of those guys with Thibault and Cork and Milton. So George Hill can easily be the guy that ends up playing 25 minutes. And it wouldn't surprise me that if the game ends up getting really tight towards the end, that George Hill is the guy that's closing out the fourth quarter tonight too. So it certainly is intriguing. Just with the way that I think Philly ends up, I don't want to say running away with this one, but I think they're comfortable enough where they end up giving more minutes to Shake and Cork than they need George Hill out there in a 2 to 3 point game closing out the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and we got a question about Simmons and Tobias Harris. Tobias Harris has been really good. Now, of course, Simmons 7,600, and of course you see all of that, does the preliminary stuff, rebounds, assists, a little bit of scoring in there, which he was able to score a lot. Would you rather go with Simmons, who I think does have a lot of upside because he can do everything, like triple double threat almost every time he touches the floor? But I feel like if you need a baseline, Tobias Harris is your guy there because he's going to get at least 20 points.
That's exactly the way that I would phrase it. So personally, I'm not playing either one of these guys in my main lineup just because it doesn't work. But at the same time, if you are going with one of them, it's because you're chasing upside. So I do give the nod to Ben Simmons, but if you need that floor, then Tobias Harris is your guy because Ben can realistically drop 5 to 6 points because they don't need him to score. Bede's going out there and dropping 40. They don't need Ben Simmons to drop 20. Man, what a novel 10,
concept. 10. Like, why does everybody ask Ben to score so much when Joel Embiid's putting up 40 points? You want Joel Embiid to shoot less? Like, it doesn't make sense. Ghost, I don't get it. I really don't get it.
Ben Simmons can have 0 points in a game, and I can know that he could have the best game of his life because he's going to go out there. He can grab 15 rebounds in a game. Name another point guard in the league that could grab 15 rebounds outside of Russell Westbrook because he's Russell Westbrook. I don't know if there's another point guard in the league that could go out there and grab 15 rebounds like consistently. Not a ceiling game for DeJounte Murray. Not any one of these guys.
I'm talking about 15 assists.
And then they dish out 15 assists in the same game.
On the other side
in the same game, and he's playing 40 plus minutes against Trae Young. Like there's nobody else that could do that right now in these NBA playoffs. So like with the upside that's there, when you're talking about upside and you need somebody to find a path to having that high ceiling game, for Ben Simmons, it's scoring. I'd rather take that chance than Tobias Harris taking 25 shots instead of Joel Embiid taking 25 shots. Because if you look at the both of them together, you're saying, how does Ben Simmons break the slate? How does Tobias Harris break the slate? Ben Simmons just needs to score. Because he's going to grab 7 plus rebounds. He's going to dish out 7 plus assists. He's a triple double threat every time he takes the court. He's playing 40 plus minutes tonight. That his path to blowing up an NBA slate is dropping 20 points, dropping 25 points, because you know at that point a 25, 10, and 10 game for Ben Simmons at 7,600 is a steal. But for Tobias Harris, he's not dishing the rock really well. That's not his role. He's going to be that pick and pop shooter that can play the mid range, or he can get to the outside. So for Tobias Harris to have a ceiling game, you need Harris to outscore Embiid. No, thank you. That's a hard pass for me, but he does have a safer floor because you know he's going to drop 20 raw easily. Whereas Ben Simmons definitely has the higher ceiling with his triple-double upside.
Now, Trae Young still putting up a lot of points. You know, we've been talking as if the Sixers figured him out, which they did. But he's not dropping, whatever he dropped, 35 points against them in game one. Basically, you need him to do that, right? Do we feel that there's any chance? Obviously, there's a chance with somebody like that because he could just hit logo shots and it doesn't matter how you defend him. But it does seem like the Sixers have figured out a way to slow him down. Is it worth 9,200 at all to take Trae Young just for the possibility of, maybe he gives us a 35-point game?
It really is worth it. And right now I do have him in my placeholder right now. I'm going to move things around. Obviously, I'm not sure if he's going to end up landing there, but right now I do have him in my main just because.
So I'll ask you this. What is the point total he has to reach? Because with him, I know we can do everything else. Great.
He's got to drop 35.
But okay.
He's got to drop 35 because you're looking at guys around him. You go up $800. You have Kawhi. You could play Donovan Mitchell with Trae Young. That's what I have right now. So I'm not really going to compare the two because you should be playing Donovan Mitchell with Kawhi, Paul George, or Trae Young. Like as my other studs, I'm playing Bede. I'm playing three of those guys. Though that's the group for me. Joel Embiid's 100% in my lineup, and then I'm going two of Trae Young, Donovan Mitchell, Paul George, and Kawhi Leonard. So that's why I'm not playing Harris. I'm not playing Ben. I'm not playing anybody else in those price ranges. Those are my guys tonight. You got to think, like, can Trae Young outscore Paul George? For me, that answer is an easy yes. And you're coming at ridiculous ownership with Paul George, but you also have to look at it as a 2 for 2 because Paul George does give you that $600 savings, right? And then you go up to Kawhi, and it's okay. I've said it time and time again. I've been saying it since the beginning of the playoffs that Kawhi Leonard is the best player in these NBA playoffs, but is he going to drop 35, 15, and 5 again? Like you have to play out that scenario where this is the slate more so than ever, where you have to play out a scenario and say, what do I need for this to happen? Is it realistic? 1, and 2, if it does happen, who do I need in my lineup? That's the way that you need to build lineups tonight. It's something that I recommend every 2-game slate, but especially with both of these series, 2-1, where the dog in the series, the person that's down 2-1 are at home. Like you can't say, well, Kawhi's down 2-1, it's a must-win game.
Yeah.
Like, how's it any different for Trae Young then?
Right.
How is it? And then you're going to tell me, well, Ben Simmons is playing defense. Utah's the best defensive team in the NBA. Like, it's just, you can't say things like that. You need to play out a scenario and say, this is what's going to happen. What do I need for this to happen? These are the guys that I need. So right now, Trae Young is certainly in my player pool. I feel like a lot of people are writing them off. They're going Donovan Mitchell right away is top of mind because of no Mike Conley. And then, of course, Paul George is there at 8,600. Let's not forget that, 3 to 5 business days ago, Paul George couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat. Like he just had a good game 2 games in a row. So it's like, just you have to put that into perspective and then again, I'm seeing a lot of Paul George with Kawhi Leonard. Is this the game where both of them combine for 70 points again? Like it's just because that happened last game doesn't mean it's happening again tonight. I know it's a 7-game series and it's the same matchups, it's the same kind of thing. Teams are not dumb. Quinn Snyder is one of the best coaches in the NBA. He's gonna be able to make adjustments. So I don't know. Like you got to be able to pick 2 of those guys to play with Bede. Trae Young is somebody that's at a 10th of an ownership of all the other guys. So it really is interesting for me to play Trae Young tonight. I think he can get there.
Let's go to a lineup right now of Reggie, Furkan, Kawhi, Batum, Embiid, Ingles, O'Neal, and Bogey.
See, like those are. I'm not really on Bogdan tonight because like I'm chasing the upside, right? So you'll see that when you end up playing Embiid with 2 out of Trae Young, Donovan Mitchell, Paul George, and Kawhi Leonard, you can't play guys like Bogdan and stuff like that. So
yeah,
these are all guys where I'm not taking that chance on that narrative. I don't want Bogdan to drop 40. And on top of that, it's the Clippers are in as close to a must-win situation. This is a must-win situation for Atlanta. It's like you can't have Bogdan dropping 40, bro. Like it's if that's what it takes for you to beat the Sixers, newsflash, you're not beating the Sixers. If you're counting on Bogdan to drop 40 points tonight, you're not beating the Sixers. It's not happening. You need Trae Young
beating the Sixers
to go nuts.
Yeah,
I think Philly takes this game anyways, but it's just again, Atlanta's there and they're like, how do we win this game? You can't sit around the table and say, how do we win this game? Well, Bog is going to drop 40. Shots, yeah. I would laugh at you. It's not happening. You can't be sitting around the team table right now. We're an hour and a bit till tip off. How are we winning this game? Well, Bog's going to drop 40. This isn't April Fool's, bro. You have game 4 in your city right now. You have a game to win. Can't be expecting Bog to drop 40. So like, that's why it's game day in the A. The ball is going to be in Trae Young's hands for 40 plus minutes tonight. It's something that's very hard to pass up. I'm not playing guys like Bog. I'm not saying they're not good plays. It's just this is such a star-studded slate. It's only 2 games, but there is so much scoring to go around between Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Trae Young, and Donovan Mitchell. I'm 100% playing Joel Embiid. He's dropping 40 a game.
Basically, a lot of 4K guys in the 4K range.
A lot of these guys, and you got to grab guys that are going to be out there for a good amount of minutes and that are going to be involved. You need guys that are going to be involved. Cork is going to come off the bench and he's going to be bombs away from behind the arc. He's not going out there to play D. You're not going to see Korkmaz trying to D up Trae Young. You guys going to go out there, run up and down the court. He doesn't know what to do on defense, and he runs to the corner and he's like, "Hey, give me the ball. I'm going to chalk up a 3." Like, you need guys that when they're out there, whether it's for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, or 25 minutes off the bench, you need guys that are going to be out there and be really, really active on both ends of the floor. So for me, it's Cork, it's Milton, it's guys like this. You need to be able to, if you want to win money tonight, which I expect the answer is yes, you got to be able to take a chance on guys like this. I want
to lose. No.
Like think of if you take Milton and Cork out of this lineup, those are 2 guys that are automatically in my lineup with Matisse interchanging between one of the 2 of them. So for me, it's 2 out of 3, Shake, Cork, and Thibault, and then Joel Embiid with 2 of Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Donovan Mitchell, and Trae Young. Forget Milton and Cork, how much damage they're going to do off the bench. Just look at your 3 studs. Right. That's 200 DraftKings points right there. If things play out the way that you want them to play out, you would then need 5 guys to hit 20 each. It's nothing crazy. And you're not only just main cashing, you're contending for tournaments. Scores are much lower. Like 300 can win a tournament. So that's the route that I'm taking. It's not about stars and scrubs. It's just the fact that Danny Green's injury really ended up changing the perspective of the slate for me.
So we are previewing the NBA playoff DFS slate right here, WinDailySports.com. My name is Jon Jansen, at JJansen34, at DFS_Ghost. As you can see some of the plays here that we have so far, just players that we've talked about. You can check out more WinDailySports.com. Ghost Gems, not from Ghost, but from Adam, who did it for Ghost today. So plenty of DFS plays there. Also for the MLB slate, plenty MLB aces and bases for FanDuel. You got picks and pivots, giving you context for the entire slate and starting pitching. Plenty of things to check out. WinDailySports.com. Let's go to the one more, actually. Let's go to another lineup real quick. Insane Pump, Milton, George, Korkmaz, O'Neal, Embiid, Mitchell, Ingles, and Jackson. That seems to align a little bit with what you're going with there.
Yeah, I like that. Just again, you end up playing Reggie Jackson with Paul George. You got to think, is Reggie going to be able to get there, right? So a guy like Seth Curry is kind of the forgotten about 76er tonight, where at 5,100, he's been a model of consistency. He's been amazing this point. Yeah, he's been a model of consistency for them through 2 rounds. So those are 2 guys that are interchangeable for me. Again, it's you're chasing ceiling. You got to go Reggie Jackson. You got to hope that he goes lights out from deep. But seeing how little volume he had in the last game and throughout this second round, it's just, you got to think, like, at that point, you're like, would you rather chase the Reggie Jackson ceiling game that we saw in game 1 or 2, I believe it was? Or do you rather go with the model consistency in Seth Curry, where he's pretty much dropping a minimum of 25 DraftKings points every single day?
Yeah, let's go to the betting side of things now. I'm going with the Sixers. Can't say no to that.
What's the line at right now? You have the lines in front of you?
I think it was 3 when I checked it.
No, it's not 3. I
think 3? It only changed to 3.5.
It went down to 3?
Well, that was earlier, and then I think it went to 3.5. I think I saw it yesterday or something where I had it at 3, and now it's 3.5.
It's 3.5 right now. I'll take Philadelphia. I thought it was at 5.5. I'll take
What?
Philly.
You thought it was at 5.5? And you're
3.5.
still going to take the Sixers?
I'm gonna go put that on the site. I'm gonna go put it on the site. 5.5 is a lot. 5.5 is a lot.
Yeah, it is. And that's why I'm taking the Jazz on the other side there. Getting 5 points in that game. I know the Clippers could win it, and this series isn't over. But Utah, to me, is the flat-out better team, and they're getting 5 points. 5 points is a lot, Ghost. That's a lot. It's a lot.
I wouldn't touch that game with a 10-foot pole, but if you
I'm going with the Jazz.
My lean is Utah because Donovan Mitchell is a bad man. So I'll take Donovan Mitchell on the road.
Bad.
I'll take Donovan Mitchell. No, Rudy Gobert's boring to watch. He's a great basketball player, but he's boring to watch. Donovan Mitchell is the guy, bro. Donovan Mitchell's.
But the Jazz.
Did you see his step back three? Please tell me you saw that step back three on the corner of the arc.
The Jazz are a better team than the Clippers.
Yeah. They lose to Phoenix next round, but yes.
I think so too. Phoenix is loaded.
I gotta clip it, bro. I have to clip it from the season preview show. I have to go and clip that.
You do. Well, we'll go back and get that.
We're gonna have to go. I don't know if we could play clips while we're live, but we're gonna figure it out. We're gonna figure it out. We're gonna figure it out. We gotta go back and get that.
So that's our plays. Any other picks you want to give before we do go off here?
Took my talents to the MLB streets today with the bets. So I'll give a free NBA one, obviously, because we're on the NBA show. I am going. It kind of goes hand in hand with my Jazz pick because I need this game to stay close. Kawhi Leonard over 37.5 points and rebounds on FanDuel Sportsbook. It was at minus 102 when I took it, so pretty much even money. And then if you're on DraftKings, I'm okay with the 41.5 PRA as long as it's around the same odds. Don't lay too much juice tonight. That's what I'm taking. I'm all in on Kawhi Leonard on his points and rebounds. I don't think he's going to be dishing a lot because I think why I took Utah in the lean is I think Utah ends up getting ahead where he's going to be ball dominant tonight. He's going to be scoring. So give me the points and rebounds. I'll leave the assists out. I know it's only a 5-point difference, but 5 assists for Kawhi is it is a lot. So I'll take 37.5 points and rebounds for Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah, I'm taking Sixers, Jazz, both on the spread tonight. That's what I'm doing. Ghost, it was good to be back. Good to be back on the NBA preview show. We'll hopefully have a big night tonight. Be back tomorrow and go Sixers, right? Like Sixers got this. Yeah, Sixers best team in the East, right? That's what I need to hear before we go. B drops 40. Let's go! NBA playoff DFS preview show. WinDailySports.com.